Good morning from beautiful Brisbane, Australia. How are you this morning? It's wonderful to be here. It's Tuesday morning and it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous day. Thank you for joining in and for being here with me again in our show Recovery to Remission. And thank you for everyone who comes along every morning. It's great to be able to share with you information that impacts your day-to-day life and brings it from a place where things aren't necessarily feeling equal on the inside, but we can definitely work towards having the internal and external side of us come together and move from recovery into remission. Now, if you're new here today, my name's Linda. I'm a trauma recovery coach in Australia, down under, and I like to come and share with you information that will definitely change your life as you go through recovery, and also that you can take to your therapist, you can take to your trauma coach. They're all around the world, and you can have personalised strategies developed for you and be able to become empowered to take back your life and get a smile on your dial. Okay, today I want to do something a little bit different. I've got 10 effective ways to connect with kids, but I want to be able to share with you this information in a manner that's not just about connecting with kids, it's about connecting to the kid inside of us to have a day that's filled with joy. Now that might sound a bit out there, you know, if you're not feeling the best, but the thing is, with complex PTSD, it's our movement. When we get up and we move the internal self, it begins to actually shift the internal self into a space and place where life does begin to hold hope again. And when we're dialing into hope, we also know that we can reach, not just for the stars which seem eons away, we can begin to reach for another brand new day. Now, the first thing that we can do to connect in a healthy manner with kids is aim for 12 hugs a day. Now, when I read this, I was like, wow, 3 kids, 12 hugs each, you know, and you just know how busy a day is. But if you build it into a habit and you make it fun, like you actually inform your kids that we need to at least have 12 hugs a day, and 4 hugs a day is just for survival. You know, so it's part of our nervous system that we need that connection. Now, I'm not the most huggy of people. It takes me a while to get to know people, but I went, you know what, I'm going to give this a go. So I've started with my kids who are actually adults, all right, because we want to be the change for the generations to come as well. So I'll let you know how it goes. But for us too, it's learning to comfort ourselves. And as a past chocoholic, it's not learning to comfort ourselves with chocolate every day either. It's learning what is it, asking the question, what is it that I need to comfort me? Because if we don't ask the question, we're just going to assume from something that we've read or heard about that X, Y, and Z is comforting. But what is it I need to comfort me today? Even if I'm happy, what is something that I'm going to find comforting to do today? Okay, so can you see both sides of the coin and how it can really impact not just the younger people in your life, be they adult or little people, but it can also impact your life for the better as well. Okay, and number 2, play. How much have we forgotten to play because we became an adult and everything became serious? So work out something that you would enjoy doing with your little person, and also work out something that you would enjoy doing for you. What's playtime for you mean? And it can be as simple as, okay, Game of Thrones fan here, yes, I was on that screen yesterday. But for me, that playtime is my eldest son and I, we sat together and got all excited and spoke about it and shared that time together. And it brings that whole exciting, sense, that spirit around that we're together, we're connected, and we're having playtime. So whether it's adult or child, we're going to come together and connect and enjoy that time together, okay? So it's fun. And then if you're not sure what playtime for you would mean, ask, sit down and reflect. What does play mean for me as an adult where I am in my life? And heck, it might just mean going off and jumping in a pool and having a swim and enjoying yourself. It can be very, very, very simple. And, okay, let's keep moving on, or I'll keep you all morning being excited about things that we can do for play. One of the things with play is, remember that it's okay to have your boundaries as well. If you're dealing with anxiety and depression, sometimes you need to say, okay, we can play, and I'm going to have, let's start with 20 minutes and see how I go, all right? Sometimes it's a transition into each of these things. So it's not, oh, well, I've got to play and I go off and do it and I'll be all serious, because that defeats the point. It's okay, this is something that can help me, and I may need to learn how to play. If I've come through adverse childhood experiences, I may actually need to learn what it means to play as well as an adult. And no, it doesn't sound stupid from somebody who's been there and has had to relearn everything. We can relearn it all. It's not easy, but it's doable and it's worth it. Okay, big thing that we can do for connection, turn off technology. And hi Joe. And you're talking to somebody, or well, you're listening to somebody who loves technology, okay? I love all the latest stuff that comes out and I enjoy it. So when you say turn off technology, to me, it's not turn off technology because it's bad. It's not bad. It's simply turn it off so that we're having eye contact. We're having that time where we're connecting. One of the things in complex PTSD is somatic experiencing, and when we look into someone else's eyes, and if you've got a pet, you can do this too. You can look into their eyes and just feel the love, and that's what you're aiming for with that sort of connection. Is when you turn off the technology, it's not just about you and what you're doing. And for me, obviously technology is a big part of my work as well. It's turning off the technology and not just connecting with other people, it's reconnecting with our internal dialogue as well. So if we turn off the technology at night, and I've got a photo, but I haven't actually, I think I have the photo here. This is what I did because I realised my habit was that I would take technology to bed with me, and if I can find the photo I'll show you. I know I had it on my desktop yesterday. This is what I did. I went to Kmart and I got this little clock. See how tiny it is? It really literally is tiny. So I could have an alarm to wake up with in the morning. And it's very simple. It's battery driven and it fades out so it doesn't, keep running on full battery power all the time. But that's what I did to turn off technology, and now instead when I go to bed, I either journal and connect to my internal dialogue about what's happened today, is there anything I need to reflect on, what do I want to write down, and that's a really good habit to be in, to download before you go to sleep. Or I read, that's something that I really, really enjoy, and I miss it if I don't do it, okay? So, and it's obvious if you turn off technology with kids, you can actually rope them into helping you do the nightly routine, things like that. Say, okay, and make it fun. I used to do this with my kids when they were younger, is we get in the kitchen and cook together. So you're teaching them a life skill, having fun, and connecting together, all right? Too easy. Okay. It takes time and patience when you're tired. I admit it. But it does develop into a really good routine, and we do develop memories. Okay, so now my kids have memories of when we used to cook together, and yeah, of course it was just fun. Okay, this is one of the most important things that I never really understood until my daughter and I had a conversation a couple of days ago. Actually, on our road trip, I think it was. Connect before transition. So this is really important for young kids. So for my daughter, she didn't really want to leave me when she was young, so she didn't understand the whole concept of going to school, even though she'd been at daycare a couple of days a week. And so when she went to kinder, it was really hard for her. And I didn't realise how hard it was because, of course, they don't have the language at the time. I knew she was upset. I'd walk her to the door. But the connection, I needed to be able to sit down and have that connection with her. Now, we were dealing with me not being diagnosed as being on the spectrum, her not being diagnosed and being on the spectrum as well. So there's no blame. It's just if we can connect before transition. So instead of just, you know what it's like when you've got kids and you just got to throw everything in the bags and get out the door. It does take an extra couple of minutes to connect before the transition and build into the child's mind that awareness of what's happening. So teaching them the time, teaching them the morning schedule, having it written down on the fridge, connecting before you go away on the weekend, things like that. These are the little things that mean a lot to kids. And for us as adults, how are we going to apply connecting before transitions? It means we're going to sit down and take time to listen to our internal dialogue before there's a change coming. And for me, I'd sit down and journal it through. What's happening? What do I need to do? What do I need to have in place? So asking key questions in order that I do have a specific order of how things are going to unfold. Now, order is something that is just so important for recovery, okay? Have the order written down each day, and that helps our mind keep focused on the order rather than running off to being triggered. So it is a really important thing. Okay, we want to make time for one-on-one time and do it, even if it's once a month or once every fortnight, depends on how many kids you've got. But even if it's go out and have a coffee, just to have a break and just to see how each other's seeing the world. It can be a really special thing. Even with adult kids, we can go out and have one-on-one time and we just do little things. There's nothing major. And it's just having that time alone together. Like, Chloe and I went on the road trip on Saturday. It was like road trip. And then we get to spend 2 hours talking about whatever's happening or, singing away to our favourite songs. And it's just having that connection that creates the memories that reinforce what's happening in our hearts on the deeper aspect. And what do we want to do to make time for ourselves? Now, that's a big question as a parent or as somebody who spends time regularly with kids. What do we want to do to make time for ourselves? And then an even bigger question is, are we making time to have time for ourselves? Or are we making time for everybody else and not for ourselves? So in answering the questions, it gives us more information as to where we're going to go to from here. Okay, this is probably one of the biggest things that we can ever do with kids and with ourselves. Welcome emotions, all right? Now, when we're not raised when we're raised to learn, even just through, nobody has to say a word, we just know what we know, that we don't talk about emotions, then we have to put into place absolute effort to teach our kids emotions, as we teach our kids, we teach ourselves because we were never taught, and that's okay. It's not about the past, okay? It's about this is our starting point. Where do we go from here? So as I taught my kids, I taught myself, and then as I taught them not just labeling the emotions, I actually was able to teach them what do we do with those emotions, and the same happens for ourselves. So I teach myself what this emotion is, and then I'm asking myself questions around that emotion. Why am I feeling this way? Where do I want to go from here? What can happen to make this emotional situation different? How can I respond in a different way for myself emotionally next time? So it's taking hold of what's happening and learning to transform it into where we want to go individually. And we teach our kids to do that as well. And they can actually learn it by watching us doing it as well. So all my 3 kids do that as a natural part of life now. And they don't live in a space where they have to be quiet about how they feel, which is healthy. Listen and empathise. All of those that have been on this journey for some time absolutely understand that. So not only do we sit down and listen with our little people, we don't have to solve the problems. We actually, when we listen and empathise, we're actually teaching them to think things through. And we can learn to think things through as well. For ourselves, we're allowed to go, oh no, I want to go off on this direction and I want to think it through. I want to see where, if I make this decision, what's the outcome from that, and do I want to go down that path? And that will help us stop repeating patterns as well, which is just wonderful. Slow down and savour the moment. If there's one thing that I didn't do well as a parent, was slow down and savour the moment. And you don't when you're a single parent, and that's okay. I tried to, but I would have liked to have been able to do it more well. But that's okay. That's why that's when you become a grandparent or a godmother, and you get to sit down and do things in another way. And I sat with my goddaughter on the weekend, and she was just exhausted. So as I sat next to her, I just kept putting the dummy back in, and she slept for 3 hours. Would I have done that with my kids? No, I would have been up running around with like a chook with their head cut off, trying to get things done while they slept. But on Saturday, I really realised that rest is just so important. We might not get to see and experience everything and everywhere in life, but if we get our rest, we certainly feel like $1 million. And I tell you what, when she sat up on Saturday, and the first thing on her face was the biggest smile, you go, yeah, it's worth it. So just sit down and savour the moment. Don't sit down and savour the moment and not get things done, but think about it. It's connection. It's creating memories. And it's creating memories for ourselves when we sit down and connect in this moment instead of letting the worries of the world, take over. Let's just be here today. And I can honestly say, in the process of from recovery to remission, it does take conscious effort to sit down and stop trying to run off at the speed of light, because I'm so guilty of that, and just relax. And I'm really making it into a conscious habit. So we want to look at being intentional about creating a conscious habit, all right? And with all of these things, it doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen, okay? Bedtime, snuggle and chat, absolutely, all the way. And I think we can all agree with that. It's the best time. And, kids will want to stretch it out, but it's still the best time. Show up, and we do. Every parent who cares shows up. And even if the kids aren't living with you, you still show up, okay? Absolutely, every single time. And then on the adult side of this, we show up for ourselves too, okay? We show up, we have an intention about where we want to go with our day, what we want to do, and then we learn to manage anything that comes out of left centre or left field, and we go, yep, I can manage this, all right? I'm going to show up for me. And it actually allows us to be there for others in a healthy manner, all right? Okay, that's it for this morning. Sorry I kept you a bit longer than normal. Have the most gorgeous day. Remember to just take one thing from the list and put it into place and just build a really healthy habit around it, and you will move from recovery into remission. Bye for now, and I will see you tomorrow.